Hello everyone, welcome back to Blue Bindi Podcast, where we discuss finance, womanhood and everything in between. I'm beyond excited to introduce someone who's not just a guest, but a cherished member of our Blue Bindi community. Since day one, she's been with us, sharing her wisdom and lighting up our community. With over 26 years of experience in finance world, she effortlessly juggles customer service, client relation, governance and a lot more. But that's not it. She's a super mom and a role model to a lot of women and girls around. Please join me in welcoming the amazing Loveena Khatwani.
Thanks, Ritika. You're being really kind.
It's so much of a joy to have you here today. So Loveena, tell me one thing that, why do you think it is important for women to take charge of their finances and invest for a long term, for a very long term?
Cool. So, Ritika, you've been aware that I've been a single mother for a very long time. I think women, especially Indian women, we need a lot of security, to exist.
Correct.
And I think it is very, very important that, we plan for our security and for our financial growth.
Correct.
Okay, so let me just tell you my own story, and I think right from the age of 26, I started my investment journey.
Wow.
And I think the first part of the journey was, since I was a single mother, that I need to protect the family, protect my son in case there's an eventuality.
Correct.
So that's where a term policy and insurance cover happened, and we got that in place. The second part that I got into is growth, my son's future and how do we keep growing.
Correct.
And what happens is, like I always say, is that once you have your downside protected, okay, then you start growing. You start growing your investments, you start your investment journey. It starts with different milestones. It could be first education, then it could be your house, it could be a car, a luxury car, it could be international holidays. The list just keeps going on. Because your aspirations also start growing, right? You want more, you want to live life to the fullest at every point of time. So it's extremely important, because this gets out of the way and it gets you stuff to worry. Also, you need to understand that the earlier you start investing, the compounding effect of your investments comes into play. Let me tell you a hack, that I do. I do myself, and not to confuse you, it's a very simple process. What I have is, I have an Excel sheet, and there is this one column which talks about surviving. Surviving is that I have this lifestyle, I want this lifestyle to continue, come what may. What does this lifestyle exist of? Simple. What is my everyday life? What is the support? What is the corpus that I need to have this even after I retire? Yes, this is one. And on an everyday basis, this is one. What's interesting is that I have one more sheet which is right next to it, which is called thriving. Okay, now my thriving sheet talks about all my aspirations.
Wow.
So this is a given. You add your international holiday, you add your weekend home, you add your, solitaires, and you add whatever you want to it. What's very interesting is that if once, this piece is in place, you start aspiring for more, and you keep, how regularly that I go to this worksheet, I go to it quite often. And I think the latest entry in this worksheet has been my retirement corpus. I have about 8 to 9 years of my work life. So after that, how am I going to live a thriving life is what my focus is on.
Wow.
So start early and start planning.
And start with this hack. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure this is going to help our audience. So if you're confused what needs to be done, this is
surviving
the way.
And thriving.
And all of us have these things. I think we have that in mind. It is just about listing it down.
Absolutely.
Good one. So Loveena, moving forward, planning for a long term can be, really intimidating for somebody who's starting now at a very early age. So, how is your experience, and what is it that, you would want to tell women today? How can they go forward with their journey?
Interesting. So, Ritika, let me tell you, I started my investment journey when I was barely 26, and I would earn a salary of 25,000 at that time. So, and of which 13,000 went into an EMI. So, I had only 12,000 left. And within that, managing the house, managing a son, and it was quite difficult. But what is interesting is that, I started my journey of maybe 500-600 rupees per month just investing, just keeping it aside. And I think what really helped is this. Consistently, if you just keep that money aside, and you keep it could be for a rainy day at that time, it could be. But when you start investing as early as 26, and when I look back, which is about 25 years from now, I feel that was such a good decision at that time.
Yeah, that time you might feel it's such a small
amount. It's
such
a small amount, yeah. And so it was, and that is what, I always tell my team members, and I always tell people, I've always been blessed to have a fairly large team. But the key people I work with, I always tell them that have a 1-year goal, have a 5-year goal, have a 10-year goal. Okay. This is what gets you going. So your 1-year goal could be just a corpus, of so much. Your 5-year goal could be a house, it could be a car, whatever. Your 10-year goal could be just anything. It could be taking your parents for a holiday, all of you all, being together, whatever. But when you do this, you have your short, mid and your long-term goals, then the path finds itself. Trust me, it's magical.
And once you start, it's 1 year. As it won't be that intimidating. Smaller steps.
And I want to tell you that for me, God's been kind, that whenever I have put a date to it, I have usually reached that goal before.
That's interesting.
Because in your mind you have something, right?
Yeah.
And trust me, Ritika, people, I always tell people that have that list. Because getting to that list is beautiful. And trust me, people say that when you go and tick off on your bucket list, the feeling is amazing. Nothing compares to it.
So, Loveena, in your journey, it's been 25 years, more than 25 years that you've been, building your investments. So, you must have also faced some hurdles. How did you overcome those?
Oh yes, I think hurdles have been there, and it's always, I think it's a part of everybody's life, We do have, life doesn't go the direct, in a straight line. There are always going to be ups and downs. At downs, you really get tested, and I think it's a phase of everyone's life. You have children growing up, and at the same time you have aging parents. At the same time you have your aspirations, and you have this, it's a complete life cycle of every human being. But I think the discipline of not giving up your investments and not submitting to your wants, because the wants just keep growing. You want to have this and you want to have that, but you have to keep in mind that to reach what you have put down on, a piece of paper, you need to keep investing. So you have to have a lot of patience, discipline and planning. I think these three things.
And the way you've already highlighted, if you pen it down, it makes your life easier. So even if you might just lose track, but if you have that written somewhere, you will come back to it again.
Completely. So the thriving checklist really helps.
Yeah. So apart from this, this is something that I ask everybody. There are a lot of myths around women finance. Today I would want you to debunk one such myth for our audience that you think is
very interesting. Okay, so the one thing is that which I learned fortunately early in life is that you don't really need too much to save, okay? Because it starts with saving. Maybe it could just be very little, but what gets you there is, consistently putting in that amount of investment. I think that was one. Second is that we all feel that we need to be an expert at investing. I think that's not a need. There are a lot of experts in the industry. You need to sit, you need to review how you are doing, how your investments are doing from time to time, but you need not take the load of that. See, Ritika, traditionally, okay, I think if you ask anybody, okay, you ask your mothers, you ask your grandmothers, every woman in India has a habit of saving.
Correct.
Whether it was a chit fund, whether it was a kitty party.
I agree.
And if you go and ask your grandmom, every time the money came due to somewhere, she would always put a little aside.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, so women needed this security, okay, in their entire lifespan. However, they did not have the magic of compounding. They did not know. We are fortunate that there's an organized way that you can do this and you can see your money compound. I think we are so fortunate in that way. So, I mean, like I said, you just need to aspire, you need to plan, and you need to have that discipline. Don't give it up, come what may, because then you will get to where you want to.
Have that confidence in you.
Yes,
you can
absolutely.
Do it. And again, seek for help. You don't have to, as you rightly said, you don't have to be an expert.
Correct.
Reach out to who is an expert, list down your, aspirations and all, get somebody to, plan it with you, what all you need to do, and surely you'll do that.
And it's okay to, when you're planning, like if you're my financial advisor, to say, there's a new thing that's got added. Let's bring that in.
Let's keep, ticking off that list and keep adding new items to it. Thank you so much, Loveena, for sharing some wonderful insights, stories, and your wonderful hacks.
Thank you, Ritika. Thank you for having me here. And more so, thank you, Blue Bindi. Looking forward to many more women getting empowered.
Thank you to all the listeners for joining in the podcast today. Stay tuned for more such conversations. Until next time.